Well, yeah. So think of it this way: if you're immortal, look at it from their perspective. If you're an immortal, you are looking for something unique, something different, something you haven't seen before, because it's the only thing that gets you up. It's the only thing that gets you motivated and inspired to do anything in the world, because you've been in the world for so long. So you're looking for the nuance, you're looking for the serendipity, you're looking for the difference. And so the immortals have been able to fine tune their senses because of their longevity, but they also have this great pain and suffering because they feel they are the forgotten, they are the fallen, right? They have this torture because death does not come to them like they do to the humans. The humans' death comes for them, which is a connection to source. That's part of the cycles of our reality. They're outside of that, so that affects them psychologically. So these are their flaws, right? Okay, so what they're looking for is they look for these champions, these inspired works of our creator's art for some reason. And everybody has this innate in them, and they know this, but for some reason something happens to these human beings where they master something, and then they become the greatest pianist or the greatest baseball player, or the greatest martial artist, gymnast, whatever. Yeah, and they rise to this greatness, and that's what keeps them motivated and inspired to continue. So because they're actually they're like kind of like us. They do have this great depth of emotion, and they have this kind of affinity for humanity, right? Because through all the suffering, we still fight on, and so there's parts of us that are admirable. So the navigator, yeah. So the navigator wants to find this particular champion, because this particular champion is rumored throughout time. So and the reason and he's trying to figure out, the navigator's like, why is this champion, because the navigator has the ability to move in time and space. So he gets to hear all the stories, and so he's heard this story about this champion in different times, and he finds that very curious because this is the only one that's repeated all the time, right? Like, why is there so many different cultures and so many different timelines talk about this? And so you discover is because there's a connection with the champion to time travel itself, because the champion won the holodeck games, which the establishment made him go back in time, but he went into the in-between instead, which brought him in the loop to have access to time travel itself. Does that make sense? Like in the great aggregated system, it plugged him in, right? That's what plugged him in. And this was not considered by the establishment that sent him back in time as a way to get rid of him, right? So that's why this is, and you learn this in the movie, that's how the champion, and then why the immortals were looking for the champion, because even they found it curious. They found it weird because they've never seen that before. That was the champion's serendipitous part that made him interesting. It's because even the immortals had wind of this, and so they were searching for them. So the navigator goes, well, shoot, I'm looking for the immortals. If the immortals are looking for the champion, all I got to do is find the champion, and I'll find the immortals. Yeah, that's it. That's kind of like the aha portion of how they all connect. But there's other characters. There's the observer, who always seems to be in the distance watching all this go down. But nobody knows who the observer is. The immortals don't even know. Keeps the game of life interesting. So we put these pieces in there to share this concept. That's exactly right. The only way to make it is because you can't do it on your own. This is a movie that's very different, right? We need a group of people to be a part of this. So you asked me to get a script together. I'm working on that. So this is how I get feedback to know what I need to do, what my next mission is. So you said, get a script. Good. I'm getting a script. You're about to hear some stuff on the Patreon channel. And then I put the call out there. Who wants to be animators? Who wants to take on the responsibility of Mercury, right? Who wants to take on the responsibility of Venus? Who wants to do these characters and animate them? We can collaborate. I'll share with you some of the things that I'd like to see as part of the, you know, the ambiance of it, the style of it, because it has to, again, I told you with the game, we have to have these pieces interplayed with the game, so that way all of you know, the school, the game, and the movie all collectively work together in a harmony. I like to give some direction as the as just a way to help steer the ship, like, you know, make sure we're going in the right direction, because with this you got to be very careful, because the information we're sharing, especially when we talk about time travel, the minute that you slip, there's you know, integrity issues, and so we got to keep things, you know, we got to keep things very specific, but also allow the universe to decide how things play out, because you don't want to force anything. You want everything by permission. You don't want it by aggression. You want everything to just, you want everything to happen the way it's supposed to. When the time is right, it'll happen. There's, you know, let it do its thing. That's kind of like the where I feel we're the most successful in what we're trying to accomplish. So all we do is we just keep building, and you know, like what happened, like you and I connected through Jason Q, right? I didn't even know Jason Q was interested in this information, and he brought you. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, that's how we want it to work. We want the systems to play out that way, and you know, he brought a lot of subscribers to the channel, but I've also lost a lot of subscribers, which is exactly what we're looking for, right? The ones that are supposed to be here are here, so let them, and the right people are supposed to be here. I'm just going to trust. That's right. We're creating an alternative. We get to decide. So here's the thing. It's like, how do we change this, the movie that we're living, you know, the nightmare, if we have a horror movie or a love story, whatever we decide, how do we change it? We have to put our intention out there. We have to allow the universe to say, hey, we have this option. How about this option? I'm raising my hand. I have an idea. I want to do it this way. Would you try it this way? Anybody? Right? That's what we're doing here. And so all we're doing is asking the question, and if it's worthy, we get to continue down that path in the game.